and I remember calling my wife and going, I just met Joel Osteen. You're the only person in the world. You're the only person in the room. There's could be 20 other people waiting, and he is focused on you and making that connection with you. And someone said, what's it like being friends with Joel Osteen? And I said, it's kind of like peeing on yourself. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
Like everyone can tell, but you're the only one that gets the warm feeling. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah. Sorry, you can edit that out if you want. But
hey guys, welcome to the Troy Gramling podcast. It is an honor to be with you today because today is extra special because today is our 50th episode. 50 times I've sat before you. But anyways, hey, we're glad you are here. And for the first time ever, we're doing a contest. We're going to take you and a friend. Well, it's Valentine's Day. So you and a love, we're going to give you 2 nights at a branded hotel up to $1,000. And all you got to do is click the link below and find all the information. So from today, the 18th, all the way to February the 18th. Because at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a live stream, and that's when we're going to announce the winner. So sign up today to win a Valentine's getaway. We'd love to do that for you. I have a guest, and since it's our 50th episode, we wanted to have a very special guest, and so I invited a friend, and he made a very extra effort. He's about to go out on a Disney cruise. He came in a day early just so he could hang out with you guys and teach us a little bit about life and leadership and ministry and riding Harleys and whatever else he does. But his name is Dr. Dave Martin. Welcome to the podcast. We are glad to have you.
Well, I'm glad to be here. What a special day to be on. 50.
I hope you feel really special today.
I feel extra special. I thought it was your 50th birthday.
Yeah, well, I look 50, don't I?
Actually, way younger.
Yes, thank you.
I used to tell people I was 29. They'd look at me and go, you look horrible for 29. So now I tell people I'm 73, and they think I look amazing. You got to know how to work it.
It's just all perspective, isn't it? So you're getting ready to go on a Disney cruise.
I am.
And you said your 20th Disney cruise.
Not my 50th, my 20th.
That blew me away.
I'm a big Disney cruise fan.
So I named the wrong earlier. I was asking him what makes a Disney cruise worth 20 visits. Yeah. And I brought up, I won't say, but I brought up one and he said there's a lot. So what makes Disney worth 20 going just on a Disney as opposed to one of the other brands?
It's the Disney difference.
It's the Disney. You've read the marketing.
Oh yeah, they got me. But with kids, now my son will be 18 here in a few weeks. And so I don't know, maybe I'll try something different. But if you've got kids, there's so much for them to do. Disney always does it right. And so you actually get a vacation. If you go with your kids, sometimes you're wore out by the end of the vacation. So on Disney, you get a little vacation yourself. So
is the food good?
The food's great. I like the flow. I talk to people who go on other cruises and how they do the flow. You have the same people every night, the same servers. They just change outfits and go to the next restaurant with you. Right. So they get to know you. And it's awesome.
So now, are you an excursion guy or do you stay on the boat?
I never leave the ship. Yeah. I've gone as many as 14 days without getting off the boat. I like when it stops because everyone gets off. Now I got the whole boat to myself.
Because you said you guys have been on a 25-day.
25 is the longest one we've done. 25 days
across.
So transatlantic, yeah. It's great.
You don't get.
Someone asked what I wanted after 25 days. Like, did you never want to go on another ship again? I said after 25 days, all I could think about was how could I retire and spend the rest of my life on this ship right here.
How long ago? How long was it from the 25-day to the next one?
I don't know, probably less than a year for sure.
Really?
For sure, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's always a blast. I love the music, Sometimes I have them play the music just through the offices at my office, just so I feel like I'm on the ship.
Feel like you're on a cruise?
Yeah.
Go out and get in the hammock so it kind of feels a little.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I should put one of those in.
There you go. See? Yeah, the longest we went when we first got here, probably our second year here, somebody gave us tickets or whatever you call it to go on a sailboat. And so it had about 100 people is all it had.
Yeah.
And it had a dining room. And at night, you go up on deck and they'd put on the show, but it was the crew that basically put on the show. They didn't have, per se, paid entertainers. And it was for 7 days. And the part that was the best was at night, they'd put up the sail and turn off the motors. And that was very nice,
Yeah.
quiet, romantic.
Yeah.
But every day we were at another beach. Well, I live in South Florida.
Right.
So the last place I wanted to go is another beach.
Right.
And that boat wasn't big enough to, you could stay on it, but it'd be like, it wasn't very big. There wasn't a lot going on. So, and then, we did a couple of events where we did them on the cruise, where we had, because we're so close, we had folks sign up, and then we went on, I can't remember, 3 or 4, I think we did 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Kind of like a conference on a cruise. And, of course, there's always a lot of older folks on a cruise.
Yeah. It depends. And not on a Disney.
Not on a Disney cruise. That's right.
Unless you do the Alaska. Now there's older people on the Alaska Disney cruise. But
we did do the Alaska, not Disney. We did, what's another cruise line? The one where you go to the different restaurants. I don't know, they may all do that now.
Yeah, I think they do. Maybe Royal Caribbean or Celebrity. There's all kinds, but
Goodness. Anyways, it was in Alaska, and that was beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful up there.
We did that for our 20th wedding anniversary, and I would encourage anybody out there, even if you're not a cruise person, Alaska is worth it. And we stopped at what's the place in Canada, the island?
Or Vancouver.
There's Vancouver, Victoria.
I think it is.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. All the gardens.
Yeah. I'd like to go back. And then COVID hit and Canada went crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry if you live in Canada. But anyways, well, I'm glad you came by, and I thought it'd take just a few moments. First of all, tell us how things are going. You're pastoring now. How long have you been pastoring up there in
4 years.
Michigan? Wow. I remember when you called and you're praying about it, and
yeah, we started the Sunday COVID hit, March 15th, 2020. Perfect timing. Obviously, I don't have a real discerning prophetic gift or anything.
It's a good thing you're not a prop, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, it's been great. It's been great. Of course, after living in the South your whole life, and then God says, people are like, are you sure this was God? I'm like, it had to be, because why would I leave Florida to go to Detroit? But it's been incredible. The journey's been incredible. The church is doing amazing. And now we also have a campus in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
So we're trying to figure that out as well. And we're having a blast. And I'm loving Michigan. I heard you were born in Michigan.
I was born in Adrian, Michigan, which is about an hour from Detroit. It's about 30 minutes from Toledo.
Okay.
And then Sandusky, where Cedar Point is.
Yeah, Cedar Point. Someone told me, they said, when I first, John Maxwell told me this, when I was first going, he said, Michigan in the summer is one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? And I'm telling you, Michigan in the summer is one of the most beautiful places. Up north, I'm thinking, who wants to go further north? I'm already in Michigan. But up north around the Great Lakes and Torch Lake and Mackinac Island, just some of the most beautiful water and
big red barns.
Yeah, just
out there in the fields.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful up there.
I was born there because my dad met my mom in Detroit or in Michigan.
Okay.
Because when they were younger, I guess financially, lots of people went to Michigan for work. Stephanie's mom and dad went to Michigan and lived in Detroit for a season, just because there was work there when there wasn't any work down here.
Car industries and
things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, I grew up in Mississippi. And so there's a ton of people. They said back in the day, people in Arkansas, Mississippi, they'd all come and they'd get in their little groups together. And so you'll find groups of families for generations, 2 or 3 generations now that came, from an area and all stuck together. I met a big group from like a whole town from Finland, all from
really?
Finland. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's pretty crazy. Now, how is Detroit, because we hear a lot about Detroit in the media, good and bad.
Yeah.
What's been your experience of the city itself?
Yeah, my experience has been great. I've loved it. The people are great. The area, Detroit, the city itself is coming back strong. And
now, I don't know
the
if you're much of a
Detroit
basketball
Lions.
fan.
Well,
we won't get to the Lions.
They're not
Let's
coming.
talk about the Pistons.
Let's not talk about the Pistons. They're in a rebuilding phase. Isn't that what you call it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's talk about the Lions. Let's talk about them. They're doing great.
Yes.
And when I got there, they weren't doing too good. We got about 4 or 5 of the players that attend our church, and so this year it's been awesome. You know, of course I've lost a lot of jokes.
Right.
I can't make fun of them because after the first year or two I was there, they had done horrible. I think one game I told them, I said, guys, so when I die, I want to ask you all to be the pallbearers at my funeral, so you can let me down just one more time. You know? They let me down a few times, but this year, phenomenal. And then Michigan wins the national championship.
Yeah.
So
it's been a big year.
I think it's since I've been there.
Yeah, you made a big. I don't
that favor flow has just come with me. That made a big impact on Michigan. The whole state needs to thank me.
Yeah. Well, if the basketball team turns around, we'll.
Yeah, I forgot to pray
miraculous.
for them. We'll start.
Oh, so tell me. So 4 years, and it was an established church, but of course it had seen much better times than when you came there.
Yeah, down to about 50 people or so, and just had been great at one time, and it just continued to have years of declines, different things, and so we took it over, rebirthed it, and started brand new as Motor City Church. And it's been great.
That's the name, Motor City?
Motor City Church, yeah. Yeah.
That's a cool name. It's so you started in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. And it's one of the best things. We know that scripture, God will turns all things together for our good, right? And that hit, and we thought on our first Sunday, we had one Sunday and then we're shut down. But it worked out for our good. We looked over the next few months. We were able to renovate some things in the building we had taken over, which we weren't able to yet. Another thing, we had this shed, kind of, they call it a pole barn up north, and had all of our equipment, things like that in it. And the day before launch, so it burns to the ground. It burns to the ground. The next day, the governor shut down the state, all right at the same weekend that we launch. But all the insurance money from that helped us renovate during this time we were shut down. So people came back. We were able to stop some things needed to be stopped and start some things needed to be started, and it all worked together. And we came back, and
because you would have had a rebirth whether you wanted it or not. I mean, we all did.
This helped us do it way quicker, because COVID was a great reason we can't do that anymore.
Now, have you, because I know you've pastored down here as well, and when I say down here, I don't know where you're listening from. We're in South Florida. What's some of the differences that or have you noticed any differences as far as when it comes to leading or ministry between the South and the North? Yeah,
well, sweet tea, of course, is one thing.
What about Dr. Pepper? You have Dr. Pepper out there?
Well, they do. But, it is, I tell them, I said, we want to build a good, strong culture of a good Southern hospitality. They said, well, we're not in the South. I said, well, we are the South of Michigan. We're in the Southeast of Michigan. So let's develop that, because culture is really what you make it. People are different in the Midwest than in the South. They're going to be different in Mississippi than they are in Michigan, or even in Florida. Here we've got in Florida such a melting pot of people. But I never realized Detroit, we would build such an international church in a city like Detroit, because the car industry, we have a large group of Asian. We've got a large group of Indian, Middle Eastern. It's, outside the Middle East, the largest population of Middle Easterns. We have Chaldeans and Iraqi and all that right in the church. But, one thing they tell you learning in international business is if you go to another country, you learn their culture, right? So Disney, when they were talking about Disney earlier, when they began Shanghai and Disney, they're like, the way we greet people, the way we do things here will be different than how you would do them. You're not going to be smiling and waving. It's very more quiet. And they said, no, we're not going to change our culture. We're going to bring our culture. And bringing the Disney culture there has actually impacted the business community of how they greet each other, how they welcome each other. And so I said, we're going to bring our Southern hospitality, and people come, they're like, man, we've never been to a more friendly church. I mean, we bring it out. And so I think there's differences in the people, but you make the culture what you want to make it.
That's good. That's good. What's been your biggest challenge?
For me, my biggest challenge was having to have a new sermon every Sunday. For years I just traveled. You're going to a different church every week, so you can kind of use the same sermon a couple times.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Dave.
Or when you're, I do a lot in the corporate arena, and they'll say, "Hey, we want you to do this." Teaching, or we want you to teach from this book, and so you don't have to do something new. I don't know how now I have much more respect for you and that new sermon every week, because you get done on Sunday and you're like, oh, I got to have another one next Sunday.
Yeah. I remember. Now, how many do y'all do?
So I just watch your sermons, write them down, and so I'm just a week behind Potential Church.
Do you remember when I first started, we had the Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a little country church, and I had to do all three.
Yeah.
I was the only person there on staff. And I don't know how I did that. You know what I mean?
I think my dad, growing up, same thing. My dad was a pastor, and Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night Bible study. And it's like, how do you have time to lead when and cast vision and all that you have to do to grow a church when all you got to do is come up with a message between Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and they want a new one.
Yeah.
It can't be the same. It's three.
I remember
different
coming home on Sunday afternoon and like, okay, Lord, what do you, what's on the TBN today? Let me turn on TBN, God speak to me.
Yeah.
So even though we're doing less services, we're probably more effective at.
I think so. I really think so. You think of the time you have to prepare even. And a stronger message. Our friend Joel Osteen talks about that. He goes, I feel like I could do about 35 good messages a year. You think of how many, when you're just throwing them out there as quick as you could, now you have time to prepare, but also time to build and lead and build leaders and all that in between, which I think gives us an opportunity to build a much stronger, more influential, and more effective church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up Joel. I know people listening and those of you who are watching, a lot of different perspectives about Joel.
Right.
Two things that jump out at me about Pastor Joel. That first of all, I remember when I first saw him on TV. Because his dad, I think, started Southern Baptist at one time.
Right.
Excuse me. So I'm from a different background than Joel. So I didn't really know the dad. I just seen all of a sudden Joel's on TV, and I thought he is so nice. Right. He can't be that nice, and nobody's going to watch him. Yeah. He's got to be fake because he's too nice. I mean, and then everybody watched him, and I think it's because he really is he's the kindest person that I probably ever met. I mean, he's very sincere in that, and then you make the second mistake. You tend to think, well, anybody that kind is not going to lead strongly. Like how can somebody be that kind and at the same time? And yet, because it made me think about it when you said, he said he speaks about 38 times. And I remember him also talking about how he wants one message in his mind at a time,
right.
And so when he travels around and he was doing the Night of Hopes, it would either be what he taught or what he was going to teach.
Right.
And I just really respected the discipline to do that.
Yeah. He's very disciplined.
Yes.
But like you said, kind. I never forget the first time I met him. We maybe talked 2 or 3 minutes, and I remember calling my wife and going, I just met Joel Osteen, and I swear he wants to be my best friend. When you talk to him, he's so, and that's one thing I really learned from him is when he talks to you, you're the only person in the world. You're the only person in the room. There's could be 20 other people waiting, 30 people waiting to talk to him, and he is focused on you and making that connection with you. And he is. You just feel like, I think he wants to be my best friend.
Very sincere, very authentic, and yet very strong about what he feels called to do.
Yeah.
And that demands a lot of
and
respect.
He is just a great person, as your friends and people have their own thoughts. And someone said, "What's it like being friends with Joel Osteen?" And I said, it's kind of like peeing on yourself. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
Like everyone can tell, but you're the only one that gets the warm feeling. Sorry, you can edit that out if you want. But I said that on a Saturday night at Lakewood, and Miss Doty, his mom, said, "Please don't say that tomorrow morning when you speak tomorrow morning." So.
But it is true. And that, the great thing about meeting folks like that, and one of the things in ministry, that you get an opportunity to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life.
Yeah.
And you can focus on, all the critical, or criticism or whatever, but it's such a great opportunity to be challenged and to learn, know.
We can learn everything from one person, or we can learn something from everyone. And, no matter, my goodness, we can learn what not to do from people just as much as we learn what to do. So I'm always looking, what can I learn from this person, whether good or bad, or what, like I said, so many different backgrounds, so many different thoughts on this person or that person. But, I think that's one of the great things we can all learn to do is find the best in people. And when you do that, you'll find what is the best thing about this person that I can learn and take and grow myself in. Because that's really what it's about, is us growing, personal growth and development. And I think, when you stop growing, you start dying. And so
different is not bad. I grew up in a denomination that really focused on the Bible. Well, that's good, right? It's good to know what the Scripture says. I believe it's our authority, but then connecting with another group that had not their only focus, but a focus on generosity.
Right.
Which I didn't grow up necessarily in a ungodly, everybody hanging tightly, but it just wasn't focused on. It wasn't taught.
Yeah. Same with me. I mean, my dad never talked bad about it or never talked good about it. We just never really talked about it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start to hear that aspect of the Christian life or of life. I think generous people are the happiest people, no matter what they believe about certain things. I think generosity brings the best out in us because it takes their focus off of ourselves. Yeah. But you start hearing that and applying that and realize that, again, not that I have to not, learn from the Scripture, but I can add this now to my life, and I'm a much more fulfilled person, a much more effective, person in making a difference and living out my faith.
Well, there were scriptures in there about it. We just never talked about those scriptures, right? I mean, I never heard growing up, the world of the generous gets larger and larger. The world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. But if you go back, and you really think about generosity, my guess the most basic scripture on that would be probably the first one you learn. I know it's the first one I learned as a kid, John 3:16. Yeah. For God so loved the world that he gave, right? And I mean, right there's the essence of generosity. He gave his very best. God created us in his image. God was a generous God. He gave his very best for us. And so when I think about that, I'm created in the image of God. Am I giving my very best? Whether it's the best of my talents, the best of my time, the best of my resources, the best of my friendships. I just want to give my best. I want to be generous in everything that I have. And, it comes back. The world of the generous gets larger and larger.
What do you think are the obstacles, the things that get in the way from us living that kind of life?
Yeah, fear is a big one. Well, if I let go, I won't have enough. That scarcity mentality, not understanding truly when we let go is when our hands are open for more to come. And people, well, I don't want to do it for more. Well, you don't. It just happens, right?
Well, I heard you say one time about that very thing, and I read a book. I just recently read a book from a rabbi. Let me put these two together real quick. But I remember I heard you one time making that statement because you asked everybody, who wants to make more? And in church, people get nervous, about something like that. And then you just challenged them on the mindset that, well, you can't give more if you don't make more. Right. You can't impact more. And the book that I'm reading, written by this rabbi, talked about how often we forget the good that leadership in business provides. Leaders in business often think, well, now I've been successful, I need to give back. Well, yeah, they need to live generously, but the leadership of business has provided jobs. It provided a service or something, it built a community. In other words, that leadership itself, because we tend to vilify sometimes business and business leaders, especially if they're successful and not realizing that there's a lot of positive that they can bring.
Well, you and I were, speaking of that, you and I were at a conference in London England, packed out O2 Arena. And I remember getting up and I said, how many would like to be a millionaire? And they all looked at me like, oh, selfish. I can't believe. And I said, really? I said, you think that's selfish if I said, but actually you're the ones that are selfish if you wouldn't want to be a millionaire. Like, what do you mean? I go, well, we just heard about all this that's happening with human trafficking, the difference we could make. We heard about these kids in India that need these buses. We heard about all this stuff, and you think you've got enough. You don't want to help. That's fine. If you want to be selfish, I said, but if you have more, how many love to be able to say, hey, I'll take care of one of those buses for those kids. I'll help rescue some girls from human trafficking. I'll build another church for. See, when you decide it's not about you, well, shoot, the more I've got, the more I can help, the more I can give. You don't have to keep it all if you don't want. But boy, you can sure help a lot of people in the process,
It's amazing because as I'm reading this book, in my own spirit, I want to push back. In other words, I guess I don't even know if that's our skin as much as how we've been brought
up.
Mindset.
Yeah. And that's that. I mean, in any area of life, that's the area that needs to change the most is our thinking. So we limit ourselves. My newest book actually is called Mindset Matters. And it's all about changing our thinking, because what hinders me, what limits me. I mean, I still, growing up a poor kid in Mississippi, I left Mississippi long before Mississippi left me. My mindset was still small in a lot of things. And I still find myself sometimes going, oh man, my son ordered a Coke, and I don't really drink Coke, but he didn't hardly drink it. And I'm like, we were at this place that was like $7 that Coke. I need to drink some of that Coke. I don't even like Coke. I'm trying to lose some weight here, but yet, man, I'm gonna waste money. You only drank about $4 of that right there. And I'm like, wait a minute, what in the world am I, and it's good to be good stewards, but also we can get that scarcity mentality real quick. And not think of what a big God we serve and how much he wants to do and how much he's for us and bless us so that we can bless others.
Yeah, fear is a big one when it comes to especially generosity. And I just, my dad was generous in one capacity with his time, and it matters. I think, it's so important to be able to pass that down. I think what I'd like, of course I want to pass my faith down to my kids, and it's great to see them serving God, but to see them be generous is incredibly fulfilling for me, to watch them without me. When they're little, it's, hey, you need to help or share or, but as they've now become adults, and to watch them on their own choose to make sacrifices so as to be generous is incredibly rewarding, because it does take maturity, like you said, a change of mind. It takes an intentionality to go against the skin's fear or desire to hang on tightly, to be generous.
You're talking about your kids. It's just amazing to watch. We've known each other for over a decade, and to watch them grow up, get married, and to see how you and Steph have instilled in them, and to see them serving and a part is just phenomenal. So thank you for being a great example to us. I mean, I'm in the process of raising one. He's almost 18 now, and so it's been awesome to watch and to see your family over these years.
Oh, well, thank you. Of all the things Steph and I've had the opportunity to do, I think I was telling Steph last night that don't forget that.
Yeah.
Be proud of the fact that they're all, sincerely serving God.
Yeah.
And, got 2 grandkids now, and
amazing.
I'm telling you, that's where
it's at. You got to take them on a Disney cruise.
We were scheduled, and then COVID came. Oh, me. Well, hey, we've been talking for 30 minutes. I thank you. No, thanks for coming by. Our 50th.
Our 50th. And I'm telling you, I want to get signed up for that opportunity to win 2 nights.
2 nights?
At a hotel.
Yeah, you and Christine must shoot.
Yeah,
have a good time.
Yeah, is it here in South Florida?
It's anywhere.
It's anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah. They don't have to come to South Florida. We'll come to them.
Hey, come on.
We're hoping somebody will win a little town where it's only $100 a night. No, just kidding.
A name brand could be any.
That's right.
Days Inn is a name brand, right?
Oh, just kidding, guys. Hey, don't forget to register. All the information is below. February the 18th at 6 o'clock. We're gonna have a live stream. So if you don't agree with anything Dr. Dave and I just said, show up on the 18th of February at 6 o'clock, and let me know those thoughts. Going to be doing the chat. Just going to have a good time. Again, thanks for being here. It's our 50th episode. We're on all the platforms on audio version, and there's a video version on YouTube and Rumble. It's always incredible to hang out with you, and we'll see you next Thursday right here on the Troy Gramling Podcast. God bless.